this mental prepisode, we are going to talk about learning how to outsmart yourself. It might take only one time to successfully quit, or it might take several attempts. Whatever the case is, you should study yourself, especially your excuses and rationality. My personal weakness was bargaining. I'm naturally good at selling ideas and negotiating, so when the addiction or the addicted side of me tries to find a compromise, it is exceptionally potent in its strategic offering, and it usually gets its way. The addicted me knows exactly what to say because one cannot keep secrets from oneself. I know my own weaknesses. Therefore, I must be preemptive and have a no budging policy strictly enforced. No hitting a cigarette, no bumming a cigarette, no just one more pack. I can't do that. And after successfully quitting, I can't say just one pack. As of now, you've heard of my accomplishment of quitting smoking for all of 2017, then leading up to 2018, having a chaotic year and bargaining with myself. Well, you had a rough year, you're in an event where you're supposed to have fun, and so far it's been pretty catastrophic. Enjoy what you can of it and go ahead and get that pack of cigarettes, and it caused a relapse. I was not psychologically prepared to handle that. And that leads me to my next topic. You need to understand relapse in a healthy way. Is a relapse ideal? Of course not. But it isn't a complete loss either, which we often convince ourselves that it is. Quitting is a skill that rarely just comes natural. It is a mastery of one's mind and the ultimate flex of willpower and demonstration of willpower. Each time that you attempt to quit, you are going to learn something about yourself if you're paying attention. You're going to definitely remember complications with quitting. You're going to see where you struggle firsthand. And the next time you attempt to quit, you'll know where to avoid certain things. Maybe it's triggers, certain triggers that you have that maybe you didn't notice while you were preparing to quit, and then you end up getting blindsided. And rather than totally beat yourself up of, oh, I relapsed, rather than take it in a negative way, I think that you should try to take as much positive out of it as possible and examine, okay, I'm smoking again. I broke my streak of non-smoking. What led me here? And how do I make sure this doesn't happen next time? Now, if you're one of the few listeners that's listening to this and you're trying to quit a different substance, there are things that can be lethal for you to relapse into. And I don't want to confuse you to think that this sort of relapse is the same sort of relapse with smoking. There are similarities here, and you can take those as positives, but a relapse on other substances can end your life. I have had a friend that was addicted to heroin and went a long time without doing any drugs, and he was off of that for a while, and then I believe it was a celebratory day and the people around him were doing it, and he said, what the hell, I'm going to do this for old time's sake, and he tried to take the dosage that he was used to taking instead of a small dose, and he basically went into a coma. And he was somebody that dancing just like me. We both grew up loving to dance, and it being something super important to be able to move with music and become in tune and almost one with the music is a very therapeutic experience. And his nerve endings and his legs end up becoming damaged in this process. So he almost completely lost something that was one of the most important experiences and activities that he enjoyed in his life. He almost had that taken from him because of a relapse. So they are a negative thing, but there are always positives that can be spun from them. I want to take it back into the smoking conversation. If you relapse, it is not the end of the world, but you also need to be prepared for it. You may quit smoking for, let's say, 3-4 months, maybe even a year, and figure you have it pretty much under control, and then you pick up a cigarette because you're stressed out or whatever the hell it is. Well, you might not have had all the prepping that you're doing right now to prepare yourself for smoking, so it may not be that easy. There isn't any planning involved in it when that happens. When you relapse, you usually don't plan that out. So if you're one of those people that are like, man, I want to get rid of this habit, but I know myself and I'm going to continuously smoke throughout my life through different periods, I will never completely get rid of it, then if that's going to be you, you need to be very strategic about that if you're going to stay on top of it and not succumb to what this addiction usually does to people and the frequency that it involves itself in our lives. You need to be exceptionally strategic. I don't recommend doing that. I think that you should quit with the intentions of not going back to it. But if you're going to do that and you are going to bargain with yourself, have a lot of preparation leading into the day where you're going to invite that back into your world, and that way you can make sure it's cut off on your terms. Because the end-all goal of this process is to have just what I said, the mastery of one's mind and being able to control and self-control and willpower so much that nothing is above you. So that's the ultimate goal above all else. Look forward to sharing with you guys the next Prepisode. I still got to get the hang of saying it. Prepisode. I will check you guys on the next one. Good luck to you. And we're getting so much closer to starting our journey.